We begin this hour with the high-stakes showdown between America's big three automakers and the United Auto Workers. If the two sides don't reach a contract agreement by midnight tonight, the union is vowing to go on strike in a move that could cost the U.S. economy billions.
Mark Meredith is live from the White House as we enter the final hours to reach a deal. Mark?
Ainsley, Pete, and Brian, good morning to all three of you. If the UAW ends up going on strike, they say they are going to target individual plants. They haven't said yet which plants would strike first, but any sort of work stoppage would certainly have an impact on the U.S. economy. There's a group out there studying what this could mean. They say at least $5 billion could be lost if this strike were to last at least 10 days, if not longer. The strikes would impact three of the U.S. automakers, Ford, General Motors, and the parent company of Chrysler, which is Stellantis. The UAW has a list of demands. They want upwards of a 40% increase in pay, a shorter work week, and additional benefits. The automakers have offered an increase in pay, but so far those offers have fallen short of the labor union's demands.
We are preparing to strike these companies in a way they've never seen before. Our message to the companies was clear. If we don't have a fair contract by midnight on Thursday night, we will strike.
For the White House, any possible strike could not come at a worse time. The president's already facing skepticism about his economic plans, and any strike could also hurt his reelection pitch to voters that he is a labor union president. A former UAW official telling Politico, UAW members feel abandoned by the Democratic Party. I think there's a segment of the party that sees itself as serving corporations rather than the common good. We've had a lot of disappointments. That's the former head of the UAW. The White House has been asked a lot about what's happening behind the scenes. What are they doing to ensure that if both sides stay at the negotiating table? They say that they are hoping that there is going to be a compromise here, that a deal can be reached. But at this point, they're still letting the players on both sides work it out amongst themselves. The president is going to be talking a lot about the economy today. He's got a big speech in Maryland focused on the economy. We'll see if he brings up the strikes, which, as you guys know, about 16 hours away if it does end up happening. Hey, Ainsley and Brian, back to you guys.
Hey, Mark, is there a sense that he should back off running on Bidenomics yet?
The White House has certainly invested a lot of time and energy trying to focus on Bidenomics. If a strike does happen and we see, for instance, a huge hit in the markets, if we see this prolong any longer, for weeks or months on end, yeah, that could be a real problem. But at this point, no, the White House is running on its economic vision.
All right. Good job, Mark. Thanks.
Mark, look at the front cover of the New York Post. It says, it's still the economy, stupid. And it says median household income falls to $74,000. That's $4,000 less than what most people were making in 2019, or the middle part of the country. Inflation is still up 3.7%. Gas prices are soaring, and Bidenomics is not working, it says.
Yeah, if you feel like almost 2 years into a presidency, you're getting poorer and your money doesn't go as far as it was, that's not a good sign. And that's why you see this poll of Biden's handling the economy. You've got a abysmal 33% approval rating of Biden's handling of the economy. Yet when he hits the campaign trail, you asked the right question, Brian. He's always talking about Bidenomics. What does he say? Middle out and bottom up is the phrase.
Trickle down.
He's against all that trickle down stuff, the free market stuff, and it's not working.
If you look at inflation, yeah, it grew at 2.7%, but overall, since he took office, inflation is up 13%. So everything that you buy, if you live paycheck to paycheck, which I think is 60% of the country, everything you buy is more expensive, including gas. Look at some of these economic numbers. 47% of gas and consumer goods are up. 36% of housing or rent are up. 8% stock market up. 5% is your job situation.
And this is the most worrisome economic stuff.
Right.
In your family, most people gas and goods. Then there's housing and rent costs.
Jobs is good news for them. But you know what is turning into bad news? How many jobs are open rather than unemployment.
Yeah, I think people are worried about their jobs. If you read this article in the New York Post, there's the 62-year-old lady, and she said she hasn't gotten a raise in 3 years. She said she's having to turn to her family for help. In the last 3 years, I stopped eating out. I've struggled to get my rent paid. I don't even know the last time I shopped for myself. I haven't bought new shoes or a new coat in 3 years, and I like shoes. There's another guy who's interviewed, who's a young guy, he's 34 years old, and he lives in Brooklyn, and he says, I feel it in my dating life. And he says, I have to cut back back on the girls. He said, if I've got a date, I've got to do research on the place and see what food and bottles cost. You have to do your research because the bills don't stop and we don't have the luxury of disposable income. He said, I was born and raised in New York and I love New York with all my heart. It's the best and worst place on earth, but I'm legitimately contemplating relocating to Canada.
Yeah, and it's not just young people, it's also baby boomers. People are, and this is a headline caught our eye in the Wall Street Journal. Why more baby boomers are sliding into homelessness. Here's a part of what the Wall Street Journal writes. They say high housing costs, a major factor in all homelessness, are especially hard for seniors living on Social Security who are no longer working. Low-cost assisted living centers, never built in adequate numbers to handle the larger baby boom generation, have been closing amid staff shortages and financial troubles and society's dispersal of familial means, less support for older people. So it used to be that generationally families took care of each other. Now it's shifted into these housing units, but they can't staff them, Brian, to your earlier point.
So when it comes to the economy, it's how it feels, and you could fall too in love with numbers. How about this number? When you have an approval rating on the economy just around 33, 34%, and then you tweet something like this out. I'm going to lay out Bidenomics today in McLean, Virginia. It's working. It's working. The MAGA Republicans, MAGAnomics, the alternative they have, I'm not joking, what economic plan have they offered? Yeah. Donald Trump says, yeah, I gave you one for 4 years. I welcome you to compare it.
You want to know why the approval rating's so low? All you have to do is look at those economic numbers and then listen to what he's saying, because everyone knows it's not true. He's spending way too much money. That's causing inflation. Our interest rates have gone up. We're no longer energy independent. That's why gas prices have gone up. In that article that you're talking about baby boomers, there's a 71-year-old lady, lost her job at the liquor store. Her rent went up $500 per month because someone bought her apartment building. So she had to move out, and she started sleeping on friends' sofas, and she can't find anything affordable because rent's gone up.
Yeah, and to go back to where we started this hour, even former union members say they feel abandoned by the Democrat Party over the administration's obsession with electric cars.
I don't think UAW has endorsed Biden yet.
No, and I've seen Donald Trump make a pretty hard push to say, hey, I was a guy who supported you in the unions and the everyday worker. Combine that with the lunacy of what the left is peddling on all social issues. What in common do these auto workers have with the modern Democrat Party?
And I'll add this. The going thing, the line you always hear is presidents get too much credit when the economy's good and too much blame when it's bad. But you could actually point to a rescue plan we didn't need, the Inflation Reduction Act, and then the infrastructure deal that he's bragging that's getting done. This is all spending we didn't have.
And the war on energy. And the war on energy. You crush that energy part, the combination of that, I mean, it points straight to 1600 Pennsylvania.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.